Very ergonomic.
All set.
Good.
Oh, we're good. Okay. Ready? Welcome everybody to the Rye Town Council meeting of December 10th, 2019. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please call the roll.
Councilperson Thomas Nardi, Councilperson Lindsay Jackson,
Here.
Councilperson Jill Axelrod, Councilperson Anthony Baxter,
Here.
and Supervisor Gary Zuckerman.
I'm here. This is our first meeting at the Crawford Mansion Community Center. And hopefully we'll have many meetings here. It is virtually 100% complete. What is currently missing from this room are our final electronics. We're operating without a microphone, but the room is small, so we probably don't even need one. We're hoping all the electronics will be installed by our next meeting. In the meantime, we are being videotaped by Mr. Tom Lorenzo, the Village of Portchester videographer, who takes care of our meetings when we've had them in Portchester. This is a beautiful, beautiful room and a beautiful building. Tom, do you want to just pan around it a little bit to show? Sure. It's not a big room, but we don't have a big crowd. And when we have a few people, it looks quite full. So that's good. The first item of business tonight, we're going to skip right to our presentations. And we have a special recognition of Councilman Anthony Baxter, who chose not to run for re-election, even though he would have won easily, and is retiring from the council at the end of the month. This is his last meeting. And so we want to present to him some certificates. The first one, I'm going to call on our legislator, Nancy Barr, county legislator, to present a certificate from the Westchester County Board of Legislators.
Can we come down there to you?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a podium, but
Oh, yeah.
well, there's no microphones. I don't really need a podium, but I will. We'll come down.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
So, as a fellow public servant, I know how much time goes into doing these kinds of things and how it takes, a special person to want to do these things.
Thank you.
And we certainly really appreciate all the time that you've put into being a Rye Town council person,
Thank you.
as well as all the other things that you've done in the community and continue to do in the community.
Yep.
So, on behalf of the County Board of Legislators, I have this proclamation for you. And this declares that December 17th, 2019 will be Anthony Baxter Day. And your name will be up on the Jumbotron outside the county center. So make sure you go and you get your photo taken. And best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good.
Don't go away.
Carol put this.
Yeah, but that's
Thanks.
Oh, yeah, just set it down over here.
We have
Don't forget that date.
Oh,
Yes.
several.
Here.
Oh, it doesn't matter, right? We'll do this one. Several certificates for Tony. One from the New York State Senate, Senator Shelley Mayer has a certificate. I'm not going to read these because most of us know about Tony's accomplishments. Let me just read a little bit, just a little bit from Shelley's.
Can't help himself.
He's a graduate of Villanova University, has a master's degree, and he's been a teacher.
So
2 master's degrees, okay, 2 master's degrees.
No, that's it.
And his specialties are English and social studies. He currently serves as the assistant principal at Sleepy Hollow High School, and he's been a principal in Brook. He's been in several areas of the county. He serves on the planning board of the Village of Portchester, where he will continue to serve. He's the chairman of our town sustainability committee. And anything else that I've missed?
I think you hit them all.
I hit most of the high points.
You
He
did.
has a lovely wife, Dawn,
Yes.
who is unfortunately home ill this evening, otherwise she would be here, and 3 lovely children.
4.
4 lovely children.
One is not so lovely.
Well, one set of twins, so that counts as 1.
Yeah, one set of twins.
And we have a certificate of recognition from the Village of Portchester, and unfortunately, Mayor Falenka could not be here. He has another meeting this evening, and he asked me to convey this to Tony, and I'm sure he certainly appreciates
I do.
your service.
Thank you.
And of course, this is from the town of Rye. I made sure it was the biggest with a frame. And we are declaring this Anthony Baxter and Family Day throughout the town of Rye. And let me just say something about Tony. First of all, Tony has served on this board with me since I became the supervisor. It was an honor to run with him, an honor to serve with him, and I have found his counsel to be always calm and his perspective to be always proper. I think that comes from your background as an educator. Tony brought a different perspective to a lot of our deliberations, informed by his own background, informed by his experiences, and I've grown to trust his judgment intimately. And I really, really appreciate him being on it, and I'm really sorry to lose you from the council.
Thank you.
But don't worry, I'm going to be calling you. And you're going to be very angry at my calls sometimes because I'm going to disturb you at all hours. Nevertheless, Tony has also agreed to stay on our sustainability, although he will give up his role as chair.
Yep.
And we have something else for you. It's in my pocket. This is a gift from the town of Rye Council.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Gary.
And
Do I open it now? Or?
you can if you'd like.
Wow. It's been a long one, oh, very nice. Couple of
Couplers with the town of Rye insignia.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank the whole council.
I will.
Thank you.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, one more.
Oh,
More?
Yeah, okay.
This one.
Right.
okay.
And by the way, Tony said, don't make a big deal.
I did
Heard
say
that?
that. Don't make
And I know what Debbie's response was. It was, too late.
Too late. Thank you.
And I give you this
Oh.
special plastic bag.
Sustainable.
It is.
Yeah.
We use it, we want to make sure
It's a
nothing
loop
gets
bag. It's a loop
ruined.
bag. Thank you.
I've got some remarks to share with you now. You want me to wait till you?
No?
Is that all right? You want me to go up there, Tommy, or do it here? Do it here? Well, I did tell Debbie not to make a fuss, and I'm glad she heeded my words of encouragement not to. But I did have a few remarks just because it is my final meeting. Some thanks. I want to begin by thanking my wife, Dawn, and our children, Hope, Lily, Hannah, and Kyle, for their love, support, and encouragement, and for allowing me to represent our community in this capacity over the last 4 years. Thank you to my fellow board members, including former Councilman Bill Villanova, for your commitment and collaboration. I truly believe ours is a model form of local government where individuals come together as a team, put parties aside, and work to accomplish great things for their constituents, friends, and neighbors. Thank you to Hope, Debbie, Jeff, Dave, Denise, Nick, Neva, Sarah, Brenda, and to all the members of our wonderful town staff. You are the boots on the ground each day that assist our residents in solving problems and arriving at conclusions. And thank you to all of our residents who placed their trust in me to represent all of us these past 4 years. I am so proud of the work we have completed over the last 4 years. Specifically, I know we are all pleased with the wonderful transformation of this property into a true community center inside and out. I look forward to following its continued progress. I am also humbled and encouraged by the work of our Sustainability Committee. This team of community volunteers has met monthly over the last 3 years to write a mission statement, achieve climate-smart community status for our town, and develop programs aimed at educating our community about clean energy and environmentally sustainable practices. I look forward to remaining involved with this group of committed community members. The teacher and coach in me cannot resist the urge to leave a message for my friends and neighbors. I implore everyone to consider service to the community as not merely something we can do, but something we should do. I have coached my children's youth sports teams, serve on the Portchester Planning Commission, the Board of Directors of the Portchester Council for the Arts, and the Town Council. I say this not to toot my own horn, but to provide examples of what service can look like. There are few honors greater than serving one's community in some capacity, whether elected or appointed. While national politics can be depressingly entertaining these days, local government is where people's lives are most impacted. The decision not to run for a second term was difficult, but ultimately a matter of priorities. With 3 children in college for the next few years and another entering high school next year, our time will be spent visiting them, attending their events and competitions, in addition to attending to our professional responsibilities. I've enjoyed this experience immensely, and I'm proud to have been part of the town's first, you guys will remember this, fused ticket with Lindsay and Gary 4 years ago. The town is certainly moving in the right direction, and I stand ready to assist if ever needed. Thank you all very much. All right, let's get on.
We do have another certificate of appreciation. John DeCrescenzo, our highway superintendent, is not in attendance. We have a certificate which he will be able to pick up. John has been the highway superintendent, I think, for 8 years. Hope, if you recall, I think 8 years. And his position of highway superintendent actually was abolished through referendum 2 years ago, I believe, but to end at the end of John's term, and we wish him well in his retirement. So, thank you to John.
John just asked me to read this
Oh,
one
yes,
paragraph,
please help.
if it's okay.
Speak up.
Okay. Okay, Honorable Supervisor, distinguished council members and citizens of the town of Rye. Since this is my last council meeting and I am unable to be here tonight, I would like to express a few thoughts. It has been a pleasure working with all the elected officials and amazing professional staff of the town of Rye. Most of all, I would like to thank the citizens of the town of Rye for the honor of serving as their superintendent of highways for 8 years. Thank you, John DeCrescenzo.
Thank you, Hope. Thank you for reading that from John.
My pleasure.
And now let's get on with the meeting. We have an adoption of minutes for the meeting held November 19th. If there are no additions or corrections, may I have a motion for a second?
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I Thank you. And now, the continuation of our public hearing on the 2020 preliminary budget. Do any members of the public wish to speak to the budget? If not, do any members of the board wish to speak to the budget? Good. Good. There has been one change, Dave. The council's informed there are a couple of
There was a couple of changes
from the
preliminary budget. The two changes which were identified today in a memo. First was a $40,000 transfer to the capital fund that shows up in debt service, and that's to cover some equipment costs for Crawford Mansion for 2020. So rather than borrow, this is just a 1 year, and last time we did this was in 2017. It's just a transfer to the capital fund. And the other was a $4,000 increase to court security based on the actual costs bringing in line for 2020.
That's payable to the village of Portchester.
Well, overall,
we meant that's where the officers come from. Go ahead.
Actually, what will happen is we will change the offer, the compensation to our court officers, which should make it more appealing for them to sign up, and therefore we won't be paying the village of Portchester.
Okay.
We'll be avoiding paying them.
Okay, very good.
Hopefully.
Councilman Nardi has just joined us from his sick bed.
I had to show
That's
up.
dedicated. Yes, and Councilwoman Jackson's just.
I think it was something I ate at lunchtime, but I feel a little bit. I couldn't miss tonight. I had to come tonight.
You'll have to see the ceremonies then on TV.
Yes, I will.
One other thing is, if the council would like to hear about the $40,000 transfer and that decision, that equipment, Vic Federico is prepared to speak to that, if you're interested.
Yeah, why don't you just tell us what, it's a truck, so why do we need, it's not a truck, why do we need it?
All right, it's a compact tractor. Comes with major PTO connections, whereas we're going to get 5 options with this tractor. It'll be heated cab, it'll do snow, it'll move piles, we'll be able to dig our own trenches, we'll be able to dig out trees. We can save money with all these options on what we hire out. We have a broom that'll sweep the walkways and clean the parking lots. We have a spreader that'll spread salt, spread seed. So in the long run, this purchase is going to save us a lot of money.
What's the make of the?
John Deere.
John Deere. Okay, so it's got longevity.
Yes.
And it's American made.
And it's American made. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Vic.
You're welcome.
All right, and the budget has been amended to reflect those changes. So without further ado, may I have a motion and a motion and a second to close the public hearing?
So moved.
I'll second.
Please call the roll to close the public hearing.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Baxter?
Yes.
And Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. And now may I have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution adopting the 2020 budget?
I make the motion.
I'll second. And this is a passage as amended.
Yes. Please call the roll.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Baxter?
Yes.
Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. And now we need to open a public hearing on local law number 3 of 2017 to create the position, establish the position of Town of Rye Administrator. Now I have a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The public hearing is open. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak to the establishment of the position of Town Administrator? Seeing none. We discussed this briefly at the last meeting. The position of administrator will more accurately reflect the duties of what the confidential secretary now performs, and probably most of the duties that the previous, at least 2 confidential secretaries performed, and is more in line with what needs to be done for the town. Perhaps the major change is that this appointment is an appointment of the council. The appointment of the confidential secretary is the appointment solely of the supervisor. This will be an appointment of the council, and it formalizes, I think, the duties that are currently performed. Any comments at this point from members of the council?
I would just like to say that I am excited to see this position professionalized. I think it's very important. Deb, you play an important role to the overall functioning of the town, and this kind of creates the longevity of your role in the position. So I'm very pleased to see this move forward.
All right. I would like to keep the public hearing open for another month, even though there haven't been any comments. There may be some next month. I would like to give the public an opportunity to comment on the establishment of such an important position. So if that's okay with the council, we will keep this open and move on to the next matter. We have a resolution authorizing the approval of change orders to Pawling Holdings on the final matters dealing with the renovation of the Crawford Mansion Community Center. Change orders numbered 17 through 21. I think everybody should have had a chance to review them. They were sent out earlier today. Are there any, let me have a motion in a second first, please.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Tommy, you always scrutinize these.
Yeah. No, because I know about the changes that were basically made, so I don't have a problem with the changes.
All right. If there are no other comments, and with the motion in a second, please call the roll.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
Councilperson Baxter?
Yes.
Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. Our next item is a change order for Rybrook Security for the security system. And that is a change order for $2,935. One of the reasons we want to get these through is we like to be able to close the books for 2019 with as few loose ends going to 2020 as possible. So if there may I have a motion and a second on this.
So moved.
I'll second.
There's no further discussion. Hope, please call the roll.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
Councilperson Axelrod?
Yes.
Councilperson Baxter?
Yes.
Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. Now, we have a resolution for the sale of, to authorize the sale of real property at 141 and 145 Highland Street. Dan Tartaglia is our special counsel. Dan, would you like to address this matter, please?
We met with the successful bidder.
First of all, we had a successful bid.
We had a successful bidder. We had a number of bidders. It actually got quite a bit of attention. The bids were all very good. Even the second bid was quite high, but the top bid was more than $400,000 higher than the second highest bid. The following Monday, the supervisor and I met with the successful bidder. They executed the contract purchase, deposited 10% of the contract purchase price with me, which went to my escrow account. We met with their attorneys today. They're waiting for the title report to come in and getting ready to close. We anticipate closing in the next week to 10 days,
So, do you want to say what the price was?
which should be in the resolution.
It is, but the public doesn't know.
$1,133,000.
Yes, it was a very, very good auction for the town.
Yes, it was a, I think there was only about $125,000 worth of taxes owed on this, so the town is doing quite well with this.
And that makes our controller very happy, does it not?
Merry Christmas.
As a real estate professional myself, I caution, don't count the money till it's deposited and the check clears. Right? Right.
And the other good piece of news is that this is a business moving into the village of Portchester in the town of Rye from the town of Mamaroneck, bringing in jobs, going to clean the place up, going to build a building there. You know, may even apply to the village of Portchester IDA for benefits for bringing in jobs. So it's going to be a good neighbor for us and a good taxpayer as well.
Excellent. So
Thank you.
with that,
Thank you for your effort.
Thanks, Dan.
thank you. Glenn.
Yeah, thank you.
The resolution is before you. May I have a motion and a second?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? Oh, please call the roll.
Councilperson Nardi?
Yes.
Councilperson Jackson?
Yes.
Councilperson Axelrod? Councilperson Baxter?
Yes.
And Supervisor Zuckerman?
Yes. We have several reports, possibly. We have a report from the assessor.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I have nothing new to report, but I want to wish you well.
Thank you.
And future members, and just to wish everybody a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. So that's it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Dave, finance report?
No additional report.
Just what's on paper, right? Okay. Mr. Receiver, do you have a report?
Report submitted.
Thank you, Mr. Receiver. I don't see Jeff. I wonder if he's in Colchester.
I wonder if he's coming at 7:30.
Madam Clerk, do you have a report or is
I
just submitted?
submitted my report, but I'd like to say one thing to Tony,
Please.
please. And I have to read it. Psalm 37, verse 23 says, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord." And Tony, you're a good man. You're a devoted family man, a volunteer in the community, and serving in your occupation, you're great. And I know someone who knows you personally there, and she can't say enough words about you, good words about you. Every time a new council member takes office and serves on the board, they bring unique gifts, personality, skills, and input. Tony has brought value and has been a contributing team member who has performed his position with professionalism and substance. I applaud you and I thank you for your contribution and friendship to me and to the town of Rye family. I have learned things from you, and it's always gratifying that I learn from everyone who takes a position here, and I appreciate it.
As we do from you.
Thank you. Thank you to Dawn and your children for the time that Tony has been taking to serve. And I must say, your punctuality is amazing. And you get meetings going and get us to move along. And I thank you, Tony.
Thanks,
You're a good friend
Thank
to the
you.
town.
So I'm mindful of that too. Tony keeps urging me, you know, let's go.
He's always here.
That's right. Whatever it takes, whatever it takes. All right, thank you very much. We have some announcements. First of all, before we get to announcements, does any member of the public wish to speak on matters not on the agenda? Seeing none, moving on to announcements. Our Welcome Home to Crawford has been rescheduled to December the 15th. Notices have gone out. We had postponed last week because of the weather, and hopefully the weather will cooperate this Sunday, although we don't have any control over that. And
Could I have one? Our assistant manager has a brief report about
Just a
Go
quick
home.
update.
Okay,
Good evening.
Camille, thank you.
Good evening. As our supervisor said, have rescheduled, and we've gotten a lot of press as a result of having to reschedule. We sort of had double of the social media, but Westmore News did a separate article on it, and Journal News did a separate article on it, to the point where we actually got 2 phone calls asking us if we were going to reschedule. So that was all good. The entertainment and the sponsorship for the event, everyone is still available, so that will remain intact. And we will be doing, instead of a civic rec demo, we're going to be doing a small slide presentation that will just continue to run. And it really is going to be what's new at Crawford Mansion. So we're going to run some images of some of the events that we've had since we've reopened, and encourage people to sign up for what will eventually be a newsletter at Crawford. And we'll just be there to talk to them and encourage them to spend time here. And we are also going to have a published rental list that they'll be able to take with them. Okay, but here's the really exciting news, is since the middle of November, so we're talking maybe 4 weeks, we have had 18 reservation requests.
Wow.
For 2020. So I mean, I had 4 just today, and it's the enthusiasm is really exciting. So we will be busy. And
That's the whole idea.
I know. But just to let you know, September is completely free, so if anyone would like to do something, that would be a very good month to do it. So I thank you, and hope I can give you
Thank you,
even
Camille.
more exciting update.
That's great news, and you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job.
I was at an unrelated event yesterday evening, and a lifelong Portchester resident commented on how wonderful it looks. So
That's
really
great.
excited to hear it. And you and Vic, it looks beautiful with the holiday decorations. I mean, it's stunning. It's perfect.
Thank you.
Thank
And the
you.
weather's going to be good on Sunday, by the way.
Good.
Sunny.
Good.
That's very good.
And
Oh,
About that. So nice. You're
come on
on.
in, Mr. County Executive. The County Executive called me and I could not pick it up. Mr. Latimer, welcome.
Good evening. Well, so much to be in this room. This is terrific. This is for my first opportunity to visit. So,
This is our first meeting here.
is this the first meeting?
Yes.
Very good. I'm glad to be a part of the trivia question. Anyway, I stopped by very briefly to honor Tony for his great service to the town. We appreciate it, and those of us in the county government, Jill and Lindsay and others know Gary from his past service, how important it is to have a good relationship between that level of government and this level of government. I've known you for a long time. You treated your job with great sincerity and great seriousness. And so Grateful County has a proclamation. Now the good news is I don't have my reading glasses with me. I couldn't possibly read. That's okay. I'm saving you a lot of time by that one. But it basically says you're a wonderful guy.
We already knew that.
So I want to thank you, congratulate you for a service well delivered for the people of this community.
Thanks, George.
I appreciate it. Thanks very much. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Enjoy your evening tonight. And I have to say, the place looks gorgeous. It really looks great. You should give yourself a round of applause. The place looks great.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you, Mr. County Executive.
nice to see you.
Take care. Good night.
Thank you. He's coming up for you.
I just wanted to follow up one thing that Camille had said. There were 2 articles in the past week, one in the Westmore News and one in the Journal News about Crawford, and both of them were very excellent articles on the mansion and on the town, and we really appreciate it, both of them. We have one more item to mention. Debbie, we had a vine clearing day at Crawford Park. You want to
We
discuss
did.
it? And you
Yes.
can bring Vic into it if you would like, because I know he had a big role.
He certainly did. And certainly you can come up to the podium. I would like to say that we had, last year, we had 4 volunteer days at Crawford for clearing invasive vines away from our precious trees. And this year, we held our first vine clearing day last Sunday. It had been rescheduled due to horrible weather. And we had a handful of volunteers, and we also had a handful of groundskeepers who worked for the town, and together we cleared several hundred feet of invasive vines from the north-south, one side of the property. It was a tremendous amount of
On the Ridge
fun.
Street side?
Right over here, right from the street, I don't know what the name is. I'm not-
When you come up Crawford Road, it's on the
Right over
right.
here with the
Ridge
wall.
Street.
Right, from Ridge Street.
No,
Yes,
the,
from Ridge Street, but
Yeah,
it's,
but the
Betsy
dead end that
Brown
comes into
Road?
the,
Betsy Brown?
yeah,
Yes.
from Betsy Brown this way. We cleared a little over an acre.
and I would also, say that this was part of our invasive species grant from the Department of Environmental Conservation.
And if I can go into it a little bit, one of the tree companies, I won't mention the name, told us that they would do 3 acres for almost $29,000 by us using the maintenance workers is going to save us more than half of that. And we're going to cover probably 10 acres by the time we're done. So we're saving a lot of money, covering a lot more ground.
And we're also keeping our maintenance workers who normally
Yes,
don't
yes.
work through the fall and winter. We're keeping
Exactly.
them busy so we can help their families and
Yes. Yeah, a lot of them, don't work for 3 months, 3-4 months. So this is giving them a couple extra weeks pay. And it's a great thing.
it's always good when we can accomplish a purpose and save money at the same time and help other people.
Yep.
And thank you so much. I know, and even to the volunteers, I did it last year. It's hard work. It's not easy. Fortunately, this year, I have more.
We'll have more.
Great.
Plenty of opportunity. Don't we have an event coming up at Crawford? Is a planting event coming?
Welcome
Not a
home.
planting, besides the welcome home, don't we have another event that,
This spring.
I know we have a plant, maybe I was thinking of the vine clearing again. It's okay, but don't worry, there'll be plenty of opportunity for volunteers to come to Crawford Park and help out. So, with that, there are no more items on the agenda. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all. We'll see you in January. Oh, one other thing, don't turn it off yet. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, and any other holiday that anybody is celebrating between now and our next meeting on January 21st.
Enjoy the holiday.
Enjoy the holidays.